Hello, Golden Seniors. Are you ready to discover a fun and easy way to turn your backyard into a blooming paradise? Well, you're in for a treat today. What if I told you that you could take all those old plastic bottles that are collecting dust in your garage and transform them into beautiful garden masterpieces? Yep, you heard that right. Today, I'm going to show you 19 plus incredible ways to recycle bottles and create stunning DIY garden pieces that will make your outdoor space shine. From vibrant planters to whimsical decorations, we've got it all covered. Not only are these ideas super simple and fun to do, but they're also eco-friendly and perfect for adding a personal touch to your backyard. So stick around, because these garden ideas will not only make your backyard gorgeous, but will also bring out your creativity, while keeping things easy on the body. Trust me, if I can do it, so can you. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another amazing DIY project. Join our Golden Seniors community, and let's bring your garden dreams to life. Here we share fun and creative ways to make your home and garden even more special. I'm so glad you're here today. If you're like me, you probably have a few old bottles lying around that you're not sure what to do with. Maybe they've just been sitting there, taking up space, or maybe you've even thought about tossing them out. Well, let me tell you, don't throw them away just yet. Today, we're going to turn them into something beautiful and functional for your garden. And the best part is, it's so easy. These DIY projects are senior-friendly and require minimal physical effort, so you can enjoy creating your own garden masterpieces without any stress. Whether you're just starting out in gardening or looking to add a little something new to your outdoor space, these bottle upcycling ideas are perfect for you. They're not only affordable but also a fantastic way to help the environment by reducing waste and giving new life to everyday items. Plus, who doesn't love a good bargain, right? Alright, let's kick things off with the first idea 1. Hanging herb garden. If you've ever wanted to grow your own fresh herbs but didn't have room for a full garden, this is going to be your new favorite project. And guess what? We're using just an old soda bottle to make it happen. How cool is that? Start by taking a large plastic soda bottle. Any size will do, but I recommend a 2-liter bottle for plenty of space for your herbs. Grab a pair of scissors or a utility knife, something sharp and easy to handle. Carefully cut the bottle in half horizontally. Now, don't worry if the edges aren't perfectly straight. It adds a little character to your project. Once you've cut the bottle, it's time to make the planter part. Use the bottom half of the bottle as the actual planter. If you like, you can poke a few small drainage holes at the bottom to make sure the water doesn't pool up. We don't want our herbs to get soggy, right? Now, grab some soil. Just your standard potting soil is perfect, and fill the bottom half of the bottle about 2/3 full. Don't worry about getting your hands dirty. This is the fun part. And remember, take your time. Gardening is all about enjoying the process, so no need to rush. Next, it's time to plant. Choose your favorite herbs: basil, mint, thyme, or even parsley, and gently press the roots into the soil. Be sure to leave a little space for them to grow. If you've never planted herbs before, don't stress. They're super easy to care for and grow quickly even in small spaces. Once you've planted your herbs, it's time to hang it up. You can use a simple piece of twine, string, or even an old shoelace to create a hanging loop. Just poke a small hole near the top of the bottle, thread the twine through, and tie a knot. Now, find a sunny spot. A balcony or fence is perfect for this, and hang your new herb garden where it'll get plenty of sunlight. Look at that! You've just created your very own hanging herb garden. This is such a fantastic way to add some greenery to your space without taking up any ground space. Plus, you now have fresh herbs on hand for cooking, all while upcycling an old bottle. How awesome is that? Materials needed: a large plastic soda bottle, 2-liter works best, scissors or utility knife, potting soil, herbs of your choice, basil, mint, parsley, etc., twine, string, or shoelace, a small gardening trowel or spoon. I'd love to know, what herbs would you plant in your hanging garden? Let me know in the comments below. Are you a fan of basil for pasta, or maybe mint for your tea? I can't wait to hear all your ideas. See how easy that was? You're doing an amazing job, and I'm so proud of you for getting started with this fun and simple project. Just think, every time you step outside, you'll have fresh herbs ready to add to your meals. Plus, you did it all yourself, and that's something to be proud of. Now, take a moment to step back and admire your work. This simple little project can make a big difference in your garden, and it's so rewarding to see those herbs grow. Don't be afraid to try more upcycling ideas. You're just getting started. 2. Bottle Fairy Lights Planter. It's a simple yet beautiful way to transform those colorful plastic bottles into glowing, whimsical planters. Imagine your backyard sparkling with soft fairy lights at night. It's like having your very own garden of magic. Let's dive right in. Start by choosing your plastic bottles. You can go for clear, colored, or even frosted bottles depending on the effect you want. Today, I'm using these bright blue and green bottles to create a fun, colorful glow. First, you'll need to cut the bottles in half, just like we did with the hanging herb garden project. Make sure to cut carefully around the middle so that you get a nice, clean edge. Don't worry if the edges aren't perfect, it adds a bit of charm. Now, we'll take the bottom half of the bottle and use it as our planter base. Fill it up with a little bit of soil, just enough to plant a small flower or a succulent. You don't need a lot of soil here, just enough to make sure your plant stays happy and healthy. Now for the fun part. Take your fairy lights. You'll need a string of battery-operated lights, the kind that are flexible and easy to mold. These lights will be our glow factor, giving us that magical effect. Just carefully arrange the lights inside the bottle, wrapping them around the plant base. Make sure the battery pack is easily accessible so you can switch the lights on and off whenever you want. Once your lights are inside, arrange the wire to create a soft, glowing effect. You can leave the lights on full display, or you can even poke the wire through small holes at the top of the bottle to give it a more hidden look. It's all about creating a whimsical, glowing atmosphere. Now that your fairy lights are inside, it's time to show off your new planter. You can place these around your garden, on your patio, or even along a garden path. The lights will brighten up your evening garden, adding a magical ambience. It's the perfect project for creating a cozy, enchanted atmosphere in your backyard. Materials needed. Colorful plastic bottles, clear, frosted, or bright colors, scissors or utility knife, soil, small plant or succulent, string of battery-operated fairy lights, optional, decorative pebbles or stones for the base. I can just picture these glowing in your garden at night. How magical, right? What colors would you use for your fairy light planter? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to share any creative ideas you have for this project. You're doing great, and look at that. You've just created a glowing, whimsical planter that'll make your garden sparkle in the evening. Don't be afraid to experiment with different bottle shapes, colors, and plants. Every creation is unique, and it's all about making your garden truly yours. You've got this. Now you've added a little bit of magic to your backyard. Imagine walking out in the evening and seeing your garden lit up with these glowing planters. It's such an easy way to create a dreamy, peaceful vibe without spending much at all. I hope you're inspired to give this a try. Your garden will thank you for it. 3. Self-watering planters. If you've ever forgotten to water your plants, or simply want to make your gardening life a little easier, this one's for you. Imagine having a beautiful garden that stays hydrated all on its own. Sounds great, right? Well, today we're going to make that happen using just a few simple plastic bottles. First, grab your plastic bottles. Any kind of bottle will do, but I recommend using medium to large-sized ones. If you're working with smaller plants, a smaller bottle is just fine. You'll also need a pair of scissors or a utility knife to make a few cuts. Don't worry, this is a very easy process, and I'll walk you through it. Start by cutting the bottle in half horizontally. The top half will be your water reservoir, and the bottom half will be where your plant will sit. So, grab your scissors and carefully cut around the bottle, just above the bottom third. Don't stress about it being perfect. It's the functionality that counts here. Next, we're going to prepare the self-watering system. Take the top half of the bottle. This will be your watering section. Using a piece of cotton string, a piece of old fabric, or a strip of cotton fabric, like an old t-shirt, works great. We're going to create a wick. The wick will be used to draw water up from the bottom reservoir and into the soil to keep your plant hydrated. Place one end of the string inside the bottom half of the bottle, which will hold the water. Make sure the string is long enough so it can reach both the water in the bottom and the soil in the top. The other end of the string will be placed into the soil of your plant. When the soil dries out, the string will draw the water up from the reservoir below and keep your plant hydrated. Now, fill the bottom half with water, just enough to submerge the bottom of the string. Once the plant is in place, gently cover the top with soil, making sure the string is well connected to the roots of your plant. And just like that, you have a self-watering planter. This is perfect for busy seniors or anyone who wants a garden that takes care of itself. Look at that! You've just created a self-watering system that will keep your plants hydrated with minimal effort on your part. It's so simple, yet it makes a huge difference in your gardening routine. You won't have to worry about overwatering or underwatering. The system does all the work for you. Materials needed: plastic bottle, medium to large size, scissors or utility knife, cotton string, fabric, or old t-shirt strips for the wick, potting soil, small plant or seedling water. How great is this? I'd love to know, what kinds of plants would you use with this self-watering system? Comment below with your favorite plants to grow. And if you try making this project, be sure to share your photos with us. I'd love to see your garden creations. You're doing an amazing job. And look at that, you've created a low-maintenance planter that makes gardening so much easier. It's perfect for any senior who loves having plants around but might not always remember to water them. You're not just helping the environment by upcycling bottles, you're also taking your garden to the next level with a smart, functional system. You've got this, and your plants will thank you. Now that your plants can water themselves, you've saved time and effort while still getting to enjoy the beauty of a flourishing garden. It's simple, effective, and makes gardening more enjoyable for everyone. Great work, my friend. 4. Bird feeder from a plastic bottle. This is an easy, fun, and super rewarding project that'll have you watching birds flutter around your garden in no time. It's perfect for seniors who love nature and want to invite a little wildlife into their space. Start by taking a plastic bottle. I'm using a regular-sized soda bottle, but any bottle will do. You want it to be big enough to hold some birdseed, but not too big that it's hard to hang. Next, we're going to cut a few small holes in the bottle where the birds will access the seed, and a couple of larger holes for the feeding ports. First, take your scissors and make 2 small holes about 1 inch or so apart, near the bottom of the bottle. These will be the feeding ports, where the birds will peck to get their food. If you want to give them a little more room, feel free to make the holes a little larger. But don't make them too big. We want to make sure the birdseed stays in place. Now that we've got our holes for the birds, let's make the feeding tray. Just a little further up the bottle, cut a larger hole or a small slit on both sides of the bottle. Insert a wooden dowel, a sturdy stick, or even a pencil into these holes. This will create a perch where the birds can sit and enjoy their meal. If you don't have a wooden dowel, you can use a thick straw or a strong twig. Perfect! Now let's fill the bottle with some birdseed. Pour it into the bottle until it fills up about halfway. The birdseed will naturally spill out a little through the feeding holes, so the birds can easily find their treats. You can use regular birdseed mix or even something special for your local birds. They'll love it. We're almost done. The last step is to make sure your bird feeder is ready to hang. Simply attach a piece of twine, string, or even a shoelace around the top of the bottle. Create a loop that's large enough to hang the bottle on a branch, fence, or hook. Just like that, you've got a charming bird feeder ready to attract some feathered friends. And there you have it. You've just created a beautiful bird feeder that's not only easy to make but also delightful to watch. Imagine sitting in your backyard, sipping your tea, and watching as birds visit your feeder for a snack. What a peaceful, rewarding way to enjoy nature. Materials needed: plastic bottle, any size works, scissors or utility knife, wooden dowel, twig, or pencil for the perch, birdseed, twine, or string for hanging. How fun is that? I'd love to know. What kinds of birds do you hope will visit your new feeder? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and feel free to share any fun birdwatching stories you've had in your garden. 5. Upcycled garden wall art. If you've ever wanted to bring some extra color and creativity to your backyard, this project is for you. We're going to take some simple plastic bottles and turn them into stunning wall art that will catch everyone's eye. Whether you want to create beautiful flowers or abstract designs, this upcycling idea is a perfect way to showcase your artistic side. Let's start by choosing a plastic bottle. The size and shape of the bottle will determine the style of the art you'll create. For a flower design, you'll want to use the larger bottles, but for abstract shapes, any size works. I'm using a mix of clear and colored bottles to add some vibrancy to the piece. Start by cutting your bottles into different shapes. For flowers, you'll want to cut the bottle into petal-like shapes. If you want a more abstract look, you can experiment by cutting the bottles into spirals, strips, or slices. The great thing about plastic bottles is they're so versatile, so feel free to play around with different cutting techniques. Once you've cut your bottles into the shapes you want, it's time to add some color. Grab some acrylic paint, the brighter, the better. You can paint the petals of the flower in vibrant reds, pinks, and yellows, or go for something more playful like blues and purples. For an abstract design, feel free to experiment with multiple colors on different pieces. Don't forget to paint the edges of your bottle cuts as well to really make them pop. Take your time with the painting. It's all about making each piece as colorful and fun as possible. And don't be afraid to layer your paint for a bolder, more textured effect. Let the paint dry for a few minutes before we start putting the pieces together. Now that our pieces are dry, let's start assembling them into a beautiful design. You can attach the petals together in a flower shape, or you can get creative and create a sculptural design. Use some hot glue to stick everything together. It's quick and easy, and it'll hold the pieces securely. Once your pieces are glued together, you can attach the whole piece to a wooden board or even directly to the wall. If you want, you can also make a few smaller designs to hang in different places around your garden, creating a colorful, eye-catching display. To hang it, just attach some twine or wire to the back of your art and find the perfect spot on the fence, wall, or porch to showcase your creation. And just like that, you've created a stunning upcycled garden wall art that not only adds charm to your backyard but also reflects your creativity. Whether it's flowers or abstract shapes, these upcycled pieces will bring a unique flair to your garden. Plus, you've turned those old bottles into something beautiful. Materials needed: plastic bottles, different sizes and colors, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint in vibrant colors, hot glue gun and glue sticks, twine or wire for hanging, wooden board or a wall to mount the art, optional, paintbrushes, decorative stones or beads for added detail. What do you think? Which design would you create for your garden? Would you go for flowers or maybe something abstract and funky? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your garden wall art would look like. 6. Mini garden fountain. Imagine the soft sound of trickling water as you relax in your backyard. Today, we're going to show you how to build a simple, peaceful water fountain using just a few plastic bottles, a small pump, and some fun decorative elements. It's soothing, easy to make, and absolutely perfect for seniors who love a calming garden atmosphere. Let's start by gathering our materials. For this project, we'll need a plastic bottle. Something large enough to hold water, like a 2-liter soda bottle works perfectly. We'll also need a small submersible water pump. You can easily find these online or at your local garden store. And finally, we'll add some decorative elements like pebbles, small stones, or even moss to give your fountain a natural, beautiful look. First, take your plastic bottle and cut it in half horizontally, just like we did for some of our previous projects. This will be the base of your fountain, so don't worry about getting the edges perfectly straight. It's the water and the beauty that matters most here. Once the bottle is cut, you'll want to flip the top half upside down and place it into the bottom half. This will help create a little space for the water to pool. The upside-down part will act like a small spout, where the water will trickle down. Now it's time to install the water pump. Place the pump inside the bottom half of the bottle, ensuring the outlet pipe is facing upwards. This will allow the water to flow through the bottle and out of the spout. If you need to, secure the pump with some hot glue to keep it in place. Just make sure the pump's cord is long enough to reach an outlet for when you turn it on. Once the pump is in position, it's time to add the decorative elements. Place pebbles, stones, or small decorative rocks around the base of the bottle. These will not only help hide the pump, but also add a beautiful nah. Now it's time for the magic, water. Fill the bottom of the fountain with water, making sure it covers the pump, but don't fill it all the way to the top. You want to leave enough space for the water to circulate and flow properly. Once it's filled, plug in the pump and watch the water begin to flow through the spout, creating a beautiful, soothing stream. And just like that, you have your very own mini garden fountain. Listen to the soft sound of the water. It's not just beautiful to look at, but incredibly calming to listen to. It's the perfect addition to any garden, bringing peace and tranquility to your outdoor space. Materials needed. Plastic bottle, 2-liter soda bottle works great. Small submersible water pump, decorative stones, pebbles, or moss, hot glue gun, optional, water, small plants or water plants, optional. How peaceful is that? I'd love to know, where would you put your mini garden fountain? Would you place it by your favorite bench or somewhere near your plants? Let me know in the comments below and feel free to share any creative ways you decorate your fountain. 7. Bottle planter pathway. This simple yet beautiful idea will help guide your guests through your garden, all while adding a pop of color and life. We're going to take ordinary plastic bottles, paint them, and turn them into unique planters that will line your garden path. It's a quick, easy way to make your garden feel special, and the best part is, you're upcycling and adding your personal touch. Start by collecting plastic bottles. You can use any size, but I recommend medium-sized bottles for this project. Clean them out well and remove any labels. If you want a smooth surface for painting, you can lightly sand the outside of the bottles. This will help the paint adhere better, giving you a more vibrant finish. Now let's get to the fun part, painting. Choose bright, cheerful colors for your planters. You can go with solid colors or get creative and paint patterns, designs, or even fun shapes on them. I'm using a mix of bold blues, vibrant reds, and sunny yellows to make these planters really stand out. Acrylic paint works great for this project, and it dries quickly, so you'll be able to see your creations come to life in no time. Don't be afraid to get creative. You can add some polka dots, stripes, or even paint some fun designs like flowers, birds, or hearts. The sky's the limit when it comes to decorating these planters. It's all about making your pathway as colorful and inviting as possible. Once your bottles are dry, it's time to turn them into planters. To do this, simply make a small hole or slit in the bottom of each bottle for drainage. You can use a utility knife or scissors to make a small cut. Just be careful with this part and make sure the hole is big enough to let excess water escape so your plants stay healthy. Now, fill the bottles with some potting soil and plant your favorite flowers, herbs, or even small shrubs. This is a perfect project for succulents, which require minimal care, but you can also plant anything you like. Just make sure the plants are small enough to fit inside the bottles comfortably. Once your planters are planted, it's time to place them along your garden path. Arrange them however you like. You can line them up in a straight row or scatter them in clusters for a more whimsical look. Either way, these planters will guide your guests through your garden while adding a touch of fun and personality. And there you have it, your very own bottle planter pathway. Not only do these planters help guide the way through your garden, but they also add color, texture, and a touch of magic to your outdoor space. It's a simple and eco-friendly way to transform your garden path into something unique and welcoming. Materials needed. Plastic bottles, medium size works well. Acrylic paint, bright colors recommended. Scissors or utility knife for drainage holes. Potting soil, small plants, flowers or succulents, optional. Brushes for painting, stencils for designs. Which colors would you choose for your bottle planters? Do you have a favorite flower or plant that would be perfect for this project? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you'd personalize your pathway. 8. Plastic bottle flower vases. If you love flowers and want to showcase them in a creative, eco-friendly way, then this project is perfect for you. We're going to take simple plastic bottles and turn them into charming flower vases that will look stunning on your windowsill, dining table, or anywhere you want to add a splash of color. Start by choosing your plastic bottles. You can use any size, but I recommend medium-sized bottles for a nice balance. Clean them out thoroughly and remove any labels. If there's any sticky residue left behind, a little soap and water will do the trick. Now that your bottles are clean, it's time to start cutting. For this project, we're going to cut the bottles creatively. You can experiment with different shapes. Maybe you want a simple, classic vase, or you might prefer a more artistic shape like a flower petal design or a swirl. Start by cutting the bottle just below the neck for a tall vase or above the bottom for a shorter one. It's really up to you. Don't be afraid to get a little creative with your cuts. You can cut the top of the bottle into petal shapes, ripple edges, or even spirals to add a more whimsical feel. This is where you can really express yourself and make the vase your own. And don't worry about making it perfect. The beauty is in the handmade touch. Once you've cut your bottles into the shapes you like, it's time to add some color. You can paint the bottles any color you choose. If you're going for a bold look, bright colors like red, blue, or yellow will make the vases stand out. If you prefer something a little softer, pastel shades or white will give you a more elegant feel. Take your time with the painting. You can cover the bottle completely, or you can add some fun patterns, stripes, dots, or even hand-painted flowers. The paint adds a personal touch, and it's a great way to make your vase fit into your home decor. Let the paint dry completely before moving on to the next step. Now that the paint is dry, it's time to fill your vase with flowers. You can use fresh flowers, dried flowers, or even artificial blooms if you prefer something that lasts longer. Simply arrange your flowers inside the bottle, making sure to add enough water if you're using real flowers. A few beautiful blooms and your vase will come to life. And just like that, you've turned a simple plastic bottle into a stunning flower vase. This project is not only a wonderful way to add beauty to your space, but it's also a perfect way to recycle and upcycle items you already have at home. You've created something personal and unique that will make your home feel brighter and more inviting. Materials needed: plastic bottles, medium or large, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint, any colors you prefer, paintbrushes, fresh, dried, or artificial flowers, water, 4 fresh flowers. What flowers would you choose for your upcycled vase? Would you go for vibrant tulips, elegant roses, or something more whimsical like daisies? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear which flowers you'd fill your vase with. 9. Hanging flower pots from bottles. This idea is not only easy to make, but it's also a beautiful way to add some greenery to your garden, balcony, or even inside your home. With just a few basic supplies, plastic bottles, twine, and flowers, we're going to create hanging planters that will brighten up any space in no time. Let's get started. Start by grabbing a plastic bottle. Any size works, but for this project, I'm using a regular-sized soda bottle. Make sure the bottle is clean and dry before you begin. Once it's ready, we'll be cutting it in half to create the pot. Grab your scissors or a utility knife and carefully cut around the middle of the bottle. If you'd like a slightly more decorative look, you can even cut the bottle into a curved shape, almost like the shape of a flower pot. Once the bottle is cut in half, you'll be left with 2 pieces. The bottom part is where we'll plant our flowers, and the top part will be used for hanging. But before we move on, we'll need to add a drainage hole in the bottom of the pot to allow water to escape and prevent the roots from getting too soggy. Just use your scissors to make a small hole in the bottom of the bottle. Simple, right? Now that we've got our drainage, let's move on to the next step, adding twine to create our hanging system. Take a piece of twine or sturdy string and wrap it around the neck of the bottle. You'll want the twine to be long enough so you can easily hang the pot wherever you'd like, maybe on a fence, balcony, or tree branch. Tie a knot to secure the twine in place and repeat this for the other side of the bottle if you want extra security. Once you've secured the twine, it's time to fill the bottom half of the bottle with soil. Gently add some potting soil to your new hanging pot, just enough to cover the bottom and give your plants a good base to grow in. You don't need to fill it all the way to the top, just enough for your flowers to sit comfortably. Now for the fun part, it's time to plant. Choose your favorite flowers or small plants. Petunias, begonias, pansies, or even succulents work great in these hanging pots. Gently press the plant into the soil, making sure the roots are well covered. You can even plant a few flowers together for a fuller look. Look at that! Now you've got a beautiful hanging flower pot ready to hang. The twine makes it easy to place your pot anywhere you want, and the flowers will add a cheerful pop of color wherever they go. Now, just find a perfect spot for your new hanging flower pot and let those flowers bloom. You can hang them from a fence, balcony, or even create a little hanging garden with multiple pots. These little hanging beauties are a simple way to bring nature into any space, and they look great wherever you put them. Materials needed: plastic bottle, medium or large, scissors or utility knife, twine or string, potting soil, small plants or flowers, petunias, begonias, pansies, etc. Optional, decorative pebbles or stones. Which flowers would you plant in your hanging flower pot? Would you go for colorful petunias or maybe something fragrant like lavender? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your ideal hanging garden would look like. 10. Recycled bottle gnome figurines. Who doesn't love a fun little gnome to brighten up a garden? Today, we're going to transform ordinary plastic bottles into adorable gnome figurines that will bring character and color to your outdoor space. It's a simple project, and I promise you, once you see these little guys come to life, you'll want to make a whole village of them. Start with a clean plastic bottle. Any size will do, but I recommend a 2-liter bottle for a sturdy base. This will be the body of your gnome. Grab your scissors and carefully cut off the bottom third of the bottle. This will give us a nice, rounded shape for the body of our gnome. Once you've cut the bottle, it's time to give your gnome a pointy hat. Take the top part of the bottle, the part with the neck, and gently cut off the neck so that you're left with a cone shape. This will form the gnome's iconic pointed hat. You can adjust the height of the hat to make it as tall or short as you like. Now that you've got the body and the hat, let's start putting it all together. Take the cone-shaped hat and glue it to the body of the bottle using hot glue or strong adhesive. Hold it in place for a few seconds until it sticks securely. Look at that, already starting to look like a gnome. Now comes the fun part, painting and decorating your gnome. You can go wild with your colors. I'm using bright reds for the hat, tan for the body, and white for the beard. Acrylic paints work great for this project, but any type of outdoor paint will do the job. Paint the hat first, then the body, and don't forget to give your gnome a cute little beard. You can paint it white or gray to make it look nice and fluffy. While the paint dries, let's work on the gnome's face. You can create a little nose by gluing a small button, a stone, or even a small pom-pom in the middle of the gnome's face. If you'd like to add some eyes, use 2 small buttons or paint on little eyes with black paint. Now that your gnome has a face, it's time to add those finishing touches. You can give your gnome a little belt using a strip of fabric or a piece of twine around the middle of the body. For extra flair, try adding arms made from twigs or sticks, or even a tiny shovel or rake to make him look like he's ready to tend to your garden. The possibilities are endless. And just like that, your gnome figurine is ready to join the garden. Once the paint and glue have dried, your little gnome can sit proudly on your garden path, next to your flowers, or even near your newly created fountain. Place him anywhere, he'll bring a smile to your face. Materials needed: plastic bottle, 2-liter size works well, scissors or utility knife, hot glue gun and glue sticks, acrylic paint, red, white, tan, black, button, pom-pom, or small stone for the nose, small twigs or fabric for arms or belt, optional. Small decorative items like a tiny shovel, optional. How cute is that? I'd love to hear what your gnome would look like. Would you paint him with a traditional red hat, or maybe go for something a little more whimsical? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to share photos of your gnome creations. I can't wait to see them. 11. Bottle terrariums. These tiny, self-sustaining glass worlds are perfect for adding a touch of greenery to your home, and they're surprisingly easy to make. Today, we're going to turn clear plastic bottles into beautiful, miniature terrariums filled with succulents, moss, and all sorts of natural beauty. Start by choosing a clear plastic bottle. Something like a soda or juice bottle works perfectly. The size is up to you, but the larger bottles give more room for creativity. Once you've selected your bottle, carefully cut it in half with some scissors or a utility knife. Be sure to leave the top part intact, as we're going to use it as the lid for our terrarium. Once the bottle is cut, we now have the base of our terrarium. It's important to make sure the cut is neat, especially if you want a smooth top edge for the lid. If you'd like to use the bottom part as the container, just remove any sharp edges by gently sanding them down with a fine sandpaper. Now let's start building the layers for your terrarium. Begin by adding a layer of small rocks or pebbles to the bottom of the bottle. This layer helps with drainage, so any excess water can escape, and it keeps your plants from getting too soggy. Just a couple of inches will do. Next, add a layer of activated charcoal or regular charcoal. This helps keep the terrarium fresh by absorbing odors and preventing mold. It's an optional step, but I highly recommend it to help your plants thrive inside their little glass world. After that, we'll add a layer of potting soil. Use a small shovel or spoon to carefully add the soil and make sure it's about 2 to 3 inches deep. This is where your plants will grow, so make sure to give them plenty of room for their roots. Now comes the fun part: planting. Succulents are a great choice for terrariums because they're low maintenance and don't require too much water. Simply create small holes in the soil and gently place your succulent plants inside. You can arrange them in any pattern you like, making sure each plant has enough space to grow. If you have other plants like moss or small flowers, feel free to add them for variety. Once your plants are in place, it's time to decorate. You can add tiny stones, pebbles, or even small figurines to make your terrarium extra special. Think about creating little scenes, maybe a tiny fairy garden or a peaceful, rock-filled desert. The possibilities are endless. Finally, place the top of the bottle back on your terrarium. This acts as a lid, helping to keep the humidity inside and creating a little self-sustaining environment for your plants. You can leave the top slightly ajar for airflow if needed, but the plants will thrive in their cozy glass world. And there you have it, your very own bottle terrarium. These little glass worlds are not only beautiful but also incredibly peaceful to look at. They're the perfect way to bring a bit of nature into your home without the fuss. Plus, they're low maintenance, just a little water once a week and your plants will keep growing happily. Materials needed: clear plastic bottle, any size, scissors or utility knife, small rocks or pebbles, activated charcoal, optional, potting soil, succulent plants or small flowers, decorative elements, tiny stones, figurines, moss, hot glue gun, optional. For securing the lid. How calming is that? I'd love to hear what kind of plants you'd choose for your terrarium. Would you go with succulents or maybe something a little more colorful? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. 12. Garden sculptures made from plastic bottles. Imagine turning simple bottles into beautiful butterflies, flowers, or even little animals. How fun and unique is that? Today, we're going to transform ordinary plastic bottles into intricate sculptures that will add charm and character to your garden. And the best part? It's an easy, relaxing project that allows you to get creative while upcycling. Start by picking out a few plastic bottles. I recommend using medium to large ones, depending on what kind of sculpture you want to make. You'll also need scissors or a utility knife for cutting and some paint for decorating your sculpture later on. We'll begin by deciding on the shape. Let's start with a butterfly sculpture. For a butterfly, start by cutting the bottle in half vertically. Once you've done that, you'll have 2 pieces that will make up the wings of your butterfly. You can cut the edges of the wings into a gentle curve to give them a natural shape. Don't worry if they're not perfectly symmetrical. The charm of handmade art is in the uniqueness of each piece. Now that you've got your wings, it's time to create the body of the butterfly. Take the remaining part of the bottle and cut it into a long, narrow shape for the body. You can use the neck of the bottle for the top part of the body and cut the rest of the bottle into a cylindrical shape for the rest of the body. Once you have it shaped, just glue the body onto the center of the wings. Look at that! Your butterfly is coming together beautifully. Now let's add some details to make it really stand out. You can paint the wings with vibrant colors like orange, purple, or blue and add patterns to them using acrylic paint. You can paint the body black or brown and add a few thin antennae with some small twigs or wire. Take your time painting the butterfly or whatever sculpture you're creating. You can even add sparkles or glitter to the wings if you want a little extra shimmer in the sunlight. Let the paint dry for a few minutes and soon you'll have a beautiful upcycled butterfly sculpture that's ready to display in your garden. If butterflies aren't your style, no problem. You can make flowers, birds, or even animals from bottles. Just follow the. If you're making a flower, you can use the same technique for the petals, just cut them into a round shape and attach them to a stick or a thick straw to create the stem. Get creative. A butterfly, a flower, or even a tiny fox or rabbit, the sky's the limit. The beauty of this project is that each sculpture is a reflection of your imagination. And don't forget to arrange your sculptures along your garden path, by your flowers, or even near a fountain. They'll add personality and joy to your garden. Materials needed. Plastic bottles, large and medium sizes, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint, vibrant colors, glue gun and glue sticks, twigs or wire for antennae or stems, optional, decorative items like glitter or beads, optional. How would you decorate your garden sculptures? Would you make butterflies, flowers, or maybe even a cute animal? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about the designs you come up with. 13. Solar-powered bottle lanterns. These glowing lanterns will add a soft, serene light to your outdoor space, perfect for evenings spent enjoying your garden. With just a few simple materials, we'll turn clear plastic bottles into eco-friendly lanterns that shine brightly with the power of the sun. Start by choosing a plastic bottle. I recommend using a clear or frosted bottle to let the light shine through beautifully. You can use any size, but for a more dramatic effect, a larger bottle will work great. Once you have your bottle, you'll need a solar-powered light. These are easy to find at most garden stores or online. We'll use the solar light's small panel to power the lantern. Begin by cutting the top off the bottle just below the neck. This will create an open top to insert the solar light. You can use scissors or a utility knife to carefully cut the bottle. If you're using a larger bottle, you can also create an opening on the side for extra decoration. Once the bottle is cut, it's time to insert the solar light. Most solar lights have a small stake at the bottom, so simply remove that and you'll be left with the light panel. Place the light inside the bottle, ensuring the panel is facing upward. The light should fit snugly, but if it's loose, you can use a little hot glue to secure it in place. Now let's get creative with the decoration. You can leave the bottle clear or give it a fun look by adding paint or decorative elements. If you want a colorful lantern, simply paint the outside of the bottle with some acrylic paint. You can use bright colors or even create patterns or designs with stencils. If you prefer a more natural look, you can wrap the bottle with twine or ribbon or cover it with moss for a rustic, earthy feel. Once your bottle is painted or decorated to your liking, place the solar-powered bottle lantern in a sunny spot during the day to let the solar panel charge. At night, the lantern will glow with soft, warm light. Perfect for creating a cozy atmosphere in your garden. These lanterns are not only beautiful, but they're also an eco-friendly way to light up your outdoor space. And there you have it, your very own solar-powered bottle lantern. Whether you make just one or several, these lanterns will bring a peaceful, glowing touch to your garden. They're great for lighting up your patio, lining a garden path, or even hanging from tree branches for a magical effect. Materials needed. Plastic bottle, clear or frosted, solar-powered light, small, with removable stake, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint, optional, twine or ribbon, optional, decorative stones, moss or fabric, optional. Isn't that just gorgeous? What colors or designs would you paint on your solar lantern? Would you use them along a garden path or maybe hang them in a tree? I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments below and feel free to share how you decorate your lanterns. 14. Recycled bottle garden markers. If you love gardening but sometimes forget which plant is which, these markers will help you keep track of all your plants. They're simple to make, eco-friendly, and add a personal touch to your garden. Today, we're going to turn plastic bottles into functional, painted garden markers that will make your garden both beautiful and organized. Start by choosing your plastic bottles. You can use any size, but smaller bottles work best for this project. Begin by cutting the bottle in half horizontally. The top half will be your marker base and the bottom half will be discarded. Use scissors or a utility knife to cut it cleanly. This is a great way to reuse plastic bottles that might otherwise be thrown away. Once you've cut the bottle in half, it's time to shape your markers. You can leave the edge as is for a simple look, or if you want a more decorative design, cut the edges into a triangular point or rounded shape to mimic a flag. This will make your markers stand out even more in your garden. Now it's time for some painting. Choose a color that will stand out in your garden. Bright colors like yellow, green, or blue work well. Grab some acrylic paint and start covering your bottle marker with a nice layer of color. You can even go for a fun, multicolored look or paint the entire marker in a solid color and add designs later. The more creative you get, the more personal your markers will be. Once your marker is painted and the paint is dry, it's time to label your plants. You can write the names of your plants directly on the marker using permanent markers, paint pens, or a paintbrush. Just make sure to write clearly so you can easily read the plant names. For a little extra flair, you can add small designs or decorations around the name, like little flowers, vines, or even tiny butterflies. Once you've added the names and designs, let the paint dry for a few minutes. Afterward, you can place your new garden markers right next to your plants. Simply stick them into the soil near each plant, and voila, your garden is organized, colorful, and much easier to navigate. And there you go, your very own recycled bottle garden markers. Not only are they functional, but they also add a personal, creative touch to your garden. These markers are a great way to stay organized and can also be a fun project to involve your family or friends in. Materials needed: plastic bottles, any size, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint, bright colors recommended, permanent markers or paint pens, small paintbrush optional, stickers or decorative elements optional. Don't these look fantastic? I'd love to know, what would you write on your garden markers? Would you make them colorful or keep them simple? Let me know in the comments below and feel free to share your garden creations with us. 15. Butterfly feeder. If you love watching butterflies dance around your garden, this simple project is perfect for you. Today, we're going to create a butterfly-friendly feeder using a plastic bottle, sugar water, and a little creativity. It's easy, eco-friendly, and the best part, it'll attract gorgeous butterflies to your space. Start by grabbing a plastic bottle. A standard-sized soda bottle works great. You'll need to cut it in half, so carefully use scissors or a utility knife to slice through the middle of the bottle. This will give us the base and the top part of the feeder. Be cautious with the cutting, but don't worry if the edges aren't perfectly even. It's all about making something functional and beautiful. Once your bottle is cut, we'll need to make sure the feeder has an opening for the butterflies to land on. Using a small knife or scissors, cut a few small slits or holes near the bottom of the bottle to create feeding stations where the butterflies can sip the sugar water. You can make the holes just big enough for the butterflies to access the liquid, but small enough to keep the water inside. Now that we've got the holes, it's time to make the sugar water solution that will attract the butterflies. Simply mix 1 part sugar with 4 parts water in a small container. Stir it well until the sugar dissolves completely, and there you have it, the perfect treat for your garden's new winged visitors. Next, we'll add the sugar water to the bottom part of the bottle. Fill it up until the water is just below the feeding holes. Be sure to leave some space so that the butterflies can easily drink without making a mess. Once it's filled, gently place the top part of the bottle back on. This will act as the lid, and it will help keep the water contained. Your butterfly feeder is almost ready to go. Now, we need to add a way to hang it. Take some twine or string and tie it around the neck of the bottle, making a loop. This will allow you to easily hang the feeder from a tree branch, fence, or wherever you'd like to attract butterflies. Hang it in a sunny spot where the butterflies can find it easily. And there you have it, your very own butterfly-friendly bottle feeder. It's simple, it's beautiful, and it's sure to bring a little magic to your garden as butterflies come to enjoy the sweet nectar. Materials needed: plastic bottle, medium or large size, scissors or utility knife, twine or string, sugar, 1 part, water, 4 parts, small knife or scissors for cutting slits. How wonderful is that? I'd love to know, what flowers or plants do you have in your garden that attract butterflies? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share your butterfly feeder creations. 16. Bottle wind chimes. These simple yet beautiful chimes will create peaceful sounds as they sway in the breeze, making your garden feel even more tranquil. Today, we're going to transform ordinary plastic bottles into delightful wind chimes that will not only add charm to your space but also soothe your senses with their soft, tinkling sounds. Start by choosing your plastic bottles. Any size works, but I recommend using medium-sized bottles for this project. Clean them thoroughly and remove any labels. Once your bottles are ready, we'll start by cutting them to create the chime tubes. Use scissors or a utility knife to cut the bottles into equal-sized pieces. These pieces will act as the tubes of the wind chime. You can cut the bottles into several smaller sections depending on how many chimes you want to create. Each section should be about 2 to 3 inches long. Once you've cut your pieces, use a sanding block to smooth out the edges, making them safe to handle and giving them a finished look. Now that the tubes are ready, it's time to create the hanging mechanism for the chimes. Take a piece of twine or strong string and cut several pieces, each about 12 to 18 inches long. These will be used to tie each tube together. Thread each piece of twine through the neck of the bottle and tie a knot to secure it in place. This is where you can get creative. If you want your chimes to be a little more decorative, you can add beads, buttons, or even small decorative stones to the twine before tying the knot. This will add some extra color and charm to your wind chime. Once you've tied the knots and attached beads, gather all your chimes together. You can arrange them in any order you like. I'm going to make a tiered design with the tubes hanging at different lengths to create a more melodic sound. Tie the twine at the top of each tube and then connect them all to a central piece of twine, which will be used to hang the chimes. Now that all the tubes are strung together, it's time to create the final hanging loop. Simply tie a piece of twine at the top to make a loop for hanging. Make sure it's sturdy enough to support the chimes, especially if you plan to hang it in a spot that gets a lot of wind. And there you have it. Your very own bottle wind chimes are ready to hang. Find a breezy spot in your garden, near your flowers, along a fence, or even on your porch. Once you hang your chimes, let the wind do the work. The gentle sounds of the bottles will create a peaceful ambience in your garden, making it the perfect place to relax and enjoy nature. Materials needed. Plastic bottles, medium size works best, scissors or utility knife, twine or strong string, beads, buttons, or small decorative items optional, sanding block for smoothing edges, decorative stones optional. How soothing is that? I'd love to know, where would you hang your new wind chimes? Would you add more decorative elements like beads or stones? Let me know in the comments below and feel free to share your finished wind chimes. 17. Upcycled rain gauge. This simple project will help you measure the rainfall in your garden so you can keep track of how much water your plants are getting. It's perfect for the eco-conscious senior who enjoys a little extra control over their garden care. And the best part? You're using upcycled materials. Start by grabbing a plastic bottle. Any standard size will work, but I recommend using a 2-liter bottle for a more accurate reading. Clean the bottle thoroughly, removing any labels. Once it's clean, we're going to cut the top off. Just be sure to leave a little bit of the bottle at the top to allow the rain to fall in. Next, we need to mark the measurements on the bottle. Use a ruler or measuring tape to measure about 1 inch up from the bottom of the bottle. Mark this with a permanent marker. Then mark every inch above it, continuing all the way up the bottle. These markings will help you measure the amount of rain that falls in. Once you've marked the measurements, take the cut top of the bottle and place it inside the bottom half upside down to create a funnel. This will help direct the rain into the bottle so it's easier to measure. Secure the top with some hot glue if needed, or simply press it in snugly. Now, all you have to do is place your rain gauge in an open area of your garden, away from any trees or structures that could block the rain. When it rains, the water will flow into the bottle and you'll be able to see exactly how much rain your plants have received. A simple yet effective way to stay in tune with nature. Materials needed. Plastic bottle, 2-liter works well, scissors or utility knife, ruler or measuring tape, permanent marker, hot glue gun, optional. Isn't that easy? How would you use your rain gauge? Would you place it by your vegetable garden or maybe next to your flowers? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you plan to use it in your garden. 18. Planter stand using upcycled plastic bottles. This stand will not only give your plants a little lift, but it'll also add a unique, stylish touch to your garden. It's the perfect project for any senior looking to add some height and organization to their outdoor space. Start by gathering several plastic bottles, the more, the merrier. I'm using medium-sized bottles, but you can use larger ones for a taller stand. You'll also need a wooden board for the base of the stand. The size of the board will depend on how large you want the stand to be, but make sure it's sturdy enough to hold the bottles and plants. Begin by arranging the bottles in a design that works for you. You can stack them vertically, side by side, or in a triangular pattern. The idea is to create a base where the bottles will support each other and hold your planters securely. Once you've figured out the layout, glue the bottles to the board using hot glue or a strong adhesive. Once the bottles are securely attached, you can paint the stand any color you like. I'm using bright green to match the garden's theme, but you can go for any color that complements your garden decor. Once the paint is dry, your stand is ready for plants. Now, just add some small plants, flowers, or herbs into the top of each bottle. You can either leave the bottles as they are or cut holes in the bottoms to create little drainage areas. Fill each bottle with potting soil and plant your favorite greenery. And there you go, your very own upcycled planter stand. Not only is this a functional and eco-friendly way to display your plants, but it's also a great way to add vertical interest to your garden. Place your new planter stand near a sunny spot and watch your plants thrive. Materials needed: plastic bottles, medium or large size, wooden board for the base, hot glue gun and glue sticks, paint, optional, potting soil, small plants, flowers, or herbs. Doesn't this look great? I'd love to know, what kind of plants would you put on your planter stand? Would you choose flowers, herbs, or maybe succulents? Let me know in the comments below. 19. Flower pot stand from bottles. This simple but creative project will help you create a tall, sturdy stand for your flower pots, perfect for adding vertical dimension to your garden arrangements. And the best part? You're upcycling plastic bottles to make something functional and beautiful for your outdoor space. Start by selecting plastic bottles of the same size or similar sizes. The more bottles you use, the taller your stand will be. You'll need a sturdy base to support the bottles, like a small wooden board or a piece of thick cardboard. The base should be wide enough to give the stand stability, so the more bottles you stack, the bigger the base needs to be. Now, let's begin stacking the bottles. Start by gluing the first bottle to the base using hot glue. Then stack another bottle on top of it, making sure it's aligned properly. Continue stacking as many bottles as you'd like, securing each one with glue as you go. For extra stability, you can also use strong adhesive or even zip ties around the bottles once they're stacked. As you stack the bottles, you'll notice how height starts to come into play. The bottles create a beautiful vertical design that will give your flower pots the height they need to stand out in your garden. You can leave the bottles as is, or paint them with bright acrylic paint to match your garden's color scheme. Once your bottles are stacked and secured, it's time to place your flower pots on top of the stand. Simply set your flower pots or planters on top of the stacked bottles. The height will not only make your flowers more visible, but also add a dynamic look to your garden display. And there you go, your very own flower pot stand from bottles. It's a simple yet striking way to organize your plants and add some height to your garden. This project is not only eco-friendly, but also a creative way to show off your beautiful flowers. Materials needed: plastic bottles, same size or similar sizes, hot glue gun and glue sticks, wooden board or thick cardboard for the base, paint, optional, flower pots or planters. Isn't this a fun and easy way to organize your garden? How would you decorate your flower pot stand? Would you paint the bottles or leave them as they are? Let me know in the comments below. 20. Recycled bottle table centerpiece. This beautiful project will allow you to turn plastic bottles into a stunning centerpiece filled with colorful flowers and decorative stones. It's an easy, fun way to add a creative touch to your garden table. And the best part is, you get to showcase your favorite plants and flowers in style. Start by gathering your plastic bottles. Clear bottles work best for this project, as they allow the flowers and stones to show through beautifully. You can use large bottles for a bigger centerpiece or smaller ones for a more delicate look. Begin by cutting the bottles to the desired height. You can cut them halfway or make them shorter for a more varied look. Just make sure the edges are smooth. Once the bottles are cut, it's time to paint or decorate them. You can keep them clear or add a splash of color with some acrylic paint. Once your bottles are painted or decorated, set them in the center of your table or display area. Now let's fill the bottles. Start by adding decorative stones, pebbles, or gravel to the bottom of each bottle. This will help with stability and add a beautiful, earthy feel. Next, fill the rest of the bottle with potting soil and plant your favorite flowers. Anything from vibrant marigolds to soft lavender will make a stunning display. Look at that! Now you have a stunning table centerpiece that's full of life and color. The beauty of this project is that you can change the flowers with the seasons, so your centerpiece will always look fresh and unique. It's a simple way to create a personalized, eco-friendly display that brings nature to your garden or dining table. Materials needed: plastic bottles, clear works best, scissors or utility knife, acrylic paint, optional, twine or jute string, optional, decorative stones, pebbles or gravel, potting soil, fresh flowers or small plants. Doesn't this look fantastic? What kind of flowers would you use for your centerpiece? Let me know in the comments below and feel free to share photos of your creations. Well, there you have it, friends, 19 plus amazing ways to bring life to your backyard using upcycled bottles. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to start creating your own DIY garden projects. Remember, there are no rules, just fun and creativity. Every bottle you upcycle is a new opportunity to add something unique and beautiful to your garden, and I know you'll come up with some fantastic ideas of your own. If you enjoyed these bottle upcycling ideas and want to see more gardening tips and projects for seniors, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. We have so many more exciting DIY ideas coming up, so stay tuned for even more creative ways to brighten up your garden. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy gardening.